My name's Hedi, and I represent BC Moto Engineering. I do a lot of the PR work here. I'm also an engineer. I help BC tune cars and design parts at our facility. I actually met BC about 10 years ago or so, and I've always been fascinated about cars. I'd always love to take things apart and put those things back together and tinker around. My father was always into cars, build cars and stuff. And ironically, somehow we met, and I'm the type of person who's real open. I like to learn new things, whether it be carpentry or cooking or building cars, and just kind of grasped all of his knowledge and kind of latched onto him and had him as a mentor and just grew on from there. BC started off as a student, just like everybody else, a starving student who wanted to go and have something kind of cool. Had a little beater, a CRX, and just wanted to kind of hammer on it, and saw kids around campus with their, really cool, expensive cars that were just fast. And I guess he was driven by wanting to compete with them or wanting to roll with the big guys, right? So, but didn't have the money to do so. So he was able to articulate what he'd learned in school into his car. Different types of things such as the stuff that he'd learned in school with fluid dynamics or thermodynamics in his engineering courses. He'd actually go ahead and incorporate those into his car. Make a long story short, almost by default, he kept on sticking with the single cam, and while doing so in the process, he realized, hey, potentially we can make so much more power that people have yet untapped, and just grew from there. We started off at BC's garage tinkering away until his neighbors kind of grew a little irate with the loud exhaust noises, because we live in a small cul-de-sac area. And we decided that we needed to take it to another level, which was a hole-in-the-wall, like rinky-dinky shop in Pomona with homeless guys and prostitutes, And we called it our cave, because after long hours of work, we'd go there at night working on our race car and projects and experiments that we've had. And also on the weekends and holidays, we'd spend so much time there. After a while, about a year and a half later, we started getting a lot of inquiries with people wanting us to tune their vehicles and helping them design and do research and development. And it wasn't a very conducive environment, because it's like this really, really crappy place. So we had to find a new shop. Fortunately enough for us, we were able to find an industrial area in Chino, California. It was a 1,800 square foot facility. Very humble abode, we'd like to call it. Clean, nice, attracted some good people and people who were comfortable enough to bring their cars to us there. A year and a half later, we outgrew that facility, and today we're here at this place. It's about 5,200 square feet. It has 3 offices, 2 restrooms, a huge warehouse. We have a climate-controlled engine building room, and we love it here. It's challenging to be known only as single cam. Just because an engine is a single cam doesn't necessarily mean that we do not know how to work on dual overhead cam engines. The reason why we stick with the single cam is to show people that we can extrapolate that knowledge. If we can make that much power from a single cam, imagine what we can do in a sense with dual overhead cam engines. So that's some of the challenges that we see, is that a lot of people think that we are unable to utilize our engineering or science that we've learned with the single overhead cam and pass it over onto the twin cam or dual overhead cam engines. So there's a huge kind of like stigma that goes with that, where they're just like, oh, they're just single cam guys, they don't know anything about twin cam stuff, But that's not it. I mean, once again, I would like to reiterate that it's a huge science project, That's how we look at things. It's not single cam or F22 or Prelude or K20. It's an engine, and an engine is an engine is an engine is an engine. So that's one of the challenges that we do have, is misconceptions about us in terms of knowing that we only know how to work on a certain type of motor or engine or configuration, which is not true. BC really did sacrifice a lot to come into business and to really follow his passion and his dream. One really cool thing that was said to us, that was passed on to him, was, you love your job, you never work a day in your life. And that's really what he did. More so, it was a decision that was very, very risky, because he's a very avid thinker and he's a very intelligent guy. He actually, to be honest with you, may not even share this with you, but at the age of 16, he was accepted into a university. He was also inducted into Mensa, which is for the very gifted and talented, smart people, right? And he also finishing up his 4th degree. He has his associate's degree, he has his bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, master's degree in engineering management, and is following up his PhD or doctor's degree. A lot of people don't know this, and I don't really share my academia with a lot of people, but when I was younger, I was also somewhat talented. I was skipped a couple of grades. I entered college early. I graduated with my degree in biochemistry from USC. Wanted to become a doctor. Realized that I do not have control over humans. I can kind of try to fix them, but it's not always guaranteed. And one of the most hardest things that I've ever dealt with was when my patients, when I had done my internships and my rotations and candy striping kind of deal in high school, after I got my CNA license, was when my patients died on me, I realized I had no control over them. And so I decided, what else better than to go and tinker around with mechanical things, which I can somewhat try to revive back to life or fix and make even better. So I decided to go back and pursue my academia in industrial engineering, and probably will be done in about 1.5 years or so. Interim, I decided to take on engineering design and technology, which is drafting, doing AutoCAD and SolidWorks, so I can design my own parts. Hopefully by the end of this year, well, I know by the end of this year, we will be able to design a whole new line of BC Moto products that may not make sense to others, but will be really, really cool. So that's where we're at. I think the media first off had somewhat portrayed a negative connotation towards the sport compact market per se, or imports. The average enthusiast is a kid just like how we were when we were growing up in school, wanting to just drive a car and kind of make it look cool, and stereotypes that exist among these children or teenagers or young adults should not exist. It's just like any stereotype out there. I would like to revive our industry back to how it first started way back in the 90s. I really truly feel that if it was organized correctly, we'd be bigger than X Games today, because the average kid can't just go buy a mountain bike and flip over hills in Hacienda Heights. But the average kid can go and buy a car and make mods to it and still feel cool and have a conducive place to go to on Friday nights. Local meets and stuff would be great. There's so many kids that hang out when we dyno tune because they have nowhere to go. And instead of the law enforcement and people, the community rejecting them, I think they should embrace them and learn that it is a culture as well. I would like to see more female or women involvement in our sport. The sport that we're in is a very male-dominated industry, and it's very funny because we go to the races and stuff, and guys, or they'll call and they'll go, can I speak to somebody who's a little more technical, who knows a little bit more about what you guys do? And I think that it shouldn't be that way, that the women should not be afraid to embrace or embark in a culture or dabble into something a little more mechanical or technical, because I feel that you only limit yourself. You limit yourself. That's the biggest hurdle challenge one goes through. I will be driving an all-motor street car just to show my street guys that we're not all about just a pro race. We can build street cars and compete. So we will be piloting an all-motor street car, which I'll be driving, and also a road race car. I've always liked to dabble in that a little bit, and there's a little bit more skill and technique when it comes to driving a road race car, in my opinion, and it lasts a little bit longer than 10 seconds, so I think that's pretty cool too.
The unit build there was awesome.
Wasn't it great though? I just had to throw it in though.